session will be on industry perspectives on coffee processing. So participants, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. We'll bring them up after the end of the session. So for first technical session on coffee processing and value addition, I would like to welcome Dr. M. Jayakumar sir, Deputy Director, Research, Regional Coffee Research Station, Dindikal. He'll be delivering the session on processing and value addition of coffee. Sir has over 15 years of experience in coffee research. Sir has published more than 40 research articles in various journals and has attended 50 national and international conferences. In addition, Sir has authored 8 books, received 7 awards, participated in 16 national level events, and guided 6 students. Sir has awarded Junior Scientist Award, Eminent Young Scientist Award, and Environmental Scientist Award, and many more. Sir is currently serving as a Deputy Director Research at the Regional Coffee Research Station, Tamil Nadu. We welcome you to this webinar, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Jayakumar. Presently, I am working in Deputy Director Research the Regional Coffee Research Station, Tamil Nadu, Military Station. So today is the National Webinar of Coffee Processing and Value Addition in Coffee. So that the technical sessions, actually India coffee producing for mainly the coffee is secondary exporter to the other parts of the country. Actually, coffee producing for Karnataka is 70% of coffee production, 20% coffee area production in Kerala, 7% Tamil Nadu, remaining 3% Andhra, Odisha, and the northeastern states, Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, other states are producing. So actually, the two species we are producing here, actually more than 300 species coffee having. But apart from that, India, we are naturally producing Arabica and Robusta coffee. Naturally, the two species we are cultivating all over India. That Arabica 2.5 lakh hectares we are cultivating. Robusta 2.30 lakh hectares we are producing. So that the total production Arabica 1.13 metric tons for 2023-24. Robusta 2.61 metric tons. Probably 3.74 metric tons we are producing here. Apart from that, Manavivo. Actually, just introduction. Actually, is a coffee we are producing for the sweet crop. First, we can reach the seeds for primary industry. Then, after 6 months, the seedlings we are forming. Then we go for assembly. So, in May, actually, the coffee is stayed in the water plants. Coffee is for growing for high altitude crops, particularly coffee more than 1,000 means in our country, and Robusta more than 500 to 1,000 means in our country. Then coffee is a multi-layered system coffee with abrasive and condensate. So afterwards that then the coffee most times that they deliver at the 14 only starts yielding. Okay. Then actually after 14 you are going for sustainability. Then afterwards you go for yielding, then fruiting and harvesting, and then punting, and then drying, and the clean coffee and the roasted coffee. Then after roasted coffee you get good quality coffee. So this is a part that coffee life cycle of the product. The process of coffee that actually the water coffee from coffee first, that the coffee contains that the wet pieces, that the one of the seedlings for these are 30 to 45%. Then these are 19 to 20%. That the parchment skin down to 8%. Coffee beans 37 to 38%. This can be done by 2 methods. One is with dry method or natural method. This is called for cherry coffee. And another one is wet method or coffee. This is for parchment coffee. That the processing of coffee process by wet method is very good. But the exception that makes it and the doing for is blending. Robusta coffee is processed by natural or dry method. The exception by Indonesia are blend. But the India, 75 to 80% of Arabic coffee and 10 to 15% Robusta is processed by wet method. The remaining is by blend. Coffee is the world production. Actually, that around 83 countries are imagined to see that the Arabica coffee mainly produced for Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, Kenya, Guatemala, Uganda, and the Robusta coffee mainly produced in Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Uganda, and Angola, and Tanzania, and Ethiopia. But that India, the both are Arabica and Robusta coffee are producing, but we recognize that Arabica produce. Well, harvesting the processing, the major activity and the most significant activity that we are going for two methods, that is processing, that is called for plantation coffee or parchment coffee. Another one, the dry method is called for green coffee. The parchment coffee, coffee is generally fermented in every studying for in parchment coffee. The sequence of harvesting and the processing, after that, ripening of fruits, we can go for harvesting. First, that the harvesting, for 4 method of harvesting is there. First of all, dry picking, then main picking, and the stripping, and the cleaning. Then after that harvesting, you go for the sorting. The sorting means we can different ripening stage we can harvest. One is for over ripening, and unripening, after that unwanted person piece, either the starting then we go for pulping and drying. Drying two methods, I told that one is for wet method and dry method. So wet method means we can get for parchment coffee and dry method means we can get for cherry coffee. Then ultimately we can get for two means we can get tea coffee. The coffee processing, two methods, the dry method, we can directly harvest and the starting line, then directly go for drying. Okay, then after that, we can get for drying cherries and the culling and the cherry and natural coffee. So this is for you are telling for natural coffee. Then when the harvesting and the starting out, then we go for pulping and that re-distillation and the drying and the coffee parchment or peeling, parchment coffee. This is for methods of dry method and wet method. Here that India gradually is growing two varieties. The Arabica the species, two species, Arabica species and Robusta species. That Arabica variety, coffee Arabica, Robusta coffee, coffee California. So Arabic coffee is growing for high altitude region only growing, the more than 1000 sea level only. Robusta coffee that low to medium elevation, that 500 to 1000 meter elevation only. Karnataka that both Arabica and Robusta is growing, but Tamil Nadu only that Arabica is only growing. But that Arabica coffee for these are aromatic and for flavonoids and mild acid and weekend ball. Okay, then is a contain for waste, contain content, average for the 1% only, and then superior quality. The Robusta coffee is a bitter and for the strong body, and the contain content more than 2.5%. So relatively low quality. So compared to the Robusta is the quality is low. That now that the valuation of coffee, valuation is the valuation is based on the consumer preference. For example, for the very specific valuation, some of the people our consumers based on the valuation only, the rating is only the valuation. We example for director said that we released the popularity that increase apart from some of the species also is highly valuable quality. Example for coffee is Enophila, coffee Eugenines, coffee or Tapatata, coffee Excelka, and the selection 9 is all the three superior quality than the other varieties. These are the now based on that this one only that specific we are doing. Then other than estate branded coffee. The estate branded some of the planters are doing for own branded coffee is not doing. So that also the brand the estate branded is coming, then specialty coffee. That based on that the farming practices we are now that now going for the transaction. Another thing for going for certification that rainforest is coffee, then organic coffee, then fair trade and fair family coffee and waste ability coffee for a pure tea cat coffee and black tea, etc. Then another thing that in renovation of that is necessaries for coffee plantation. That based on that that picking and all, that also that now coffee is valued. Then based on the harvesting also that in recommended dry method, shaving, wash processing, and the planting, drying through machineries, and the fermentation techniques, and the moisture meter. These all are on value addition techniques only. This topic is covered for that the next speakers Govindan he covered elaborately. And just I am touching that how to get the processing and validation of coffee. Okay. Then the validation part, green coffee, roasted coffee, and the roasted in the green coffee, instant coffee, decaffeinated coffee, improved coffee, and the ready to drink coffee. Now that the coffee, that the different methods, we are now in this is for now that valuation. Then valuation technique that is improvement of self made. That coffee that also this is of the one of the valuation. The packing materials and for the eco-friendly packing materials and the packing technologies. Example, pit packing, and the vacuum and hydrogen filtering, and the coffee drip bags packing. These are the labs that we are making technology. Again, this is also one of the value addition problem. That is now coffee byproduct that is primary process for estate level that is coffee leaf, of course, and the coffee pulp. Now that after harvesting, that this is the primary product that the coffee leaf, how to make it for value addition. Then that husk that that the diameter of coffee that is the byproduct how to the value added. Then that is coffee pulp also how to make it value. Next, that is secondary processing. That is the parchment coffee. The parchment coffee is another purified. It's for parchment step. Then cherry coffee. This is for using for cherry dust. So these are for that is that kind of byproduct. That also is value. Then another thing for heavy processing for instant coffee or soluble powder coffee on this cell coffee ground. That is example, firstly talking for that composting, that leaf, coffee leaf filters and the coffee husk and the coffee the twisted coffee, we converted into the composting techniques. Two methods of composting are doing and the heat method and the for pit method. Okay, the two methods we can do it for the composting one, but this also this validation for that composting. These are the composting techniques. Whatever they connected the leaf meters, first layer we put it. Then second layer, whatever we have collected that cherry dust or coffee pulp, we can put. Then that the composting purpose, we can go for the microbial solution. We go for Pseudomonas and Trichoderma viridi for 1%. Then afterwards, fourth layer, common slurry, equal mixing. Then afterwards, we put it the biomass. That again the repeatedly we can do it for up to that sixth layer, up to that 10 feet height. This is for both peak method and peak method. So then one month we regularly spring the water Then afterwards, that 1 month once you tell the compost, within the 3 to 4 months, ready for composting. So nowadays there is not lot of that now that which rivers we are lacking here that the key area. That's only when you have to wait for any that the outer slippery or farming you directly the same that now that the leaf litters we use for composting also. These are the composting for tree for population. For we are now already in the last slide we are explaining now that the more the feed method and the feed method we can do for composting. Then the large amount of the compost also we can go for selling them. This also within the coffee plantation we go for composting only. Then after 3 months or 6 months, we ready for use for composting. This also whatever that now the coffee growing for two-tier system, temporary shade and permanent shade. Every year we are doing for this one. We go for that composting techniques. Then that if it is not of the first secondary processing, you go for that fuel purpose. For example, the filters and for fuel that pellets used for that tea industry for what that making for firing etc. These are the coffee first and coffee bulk used for that fuel purpose. That stem coffee grow. So that we discover after that filter that coffee base used for biodiesel and the same coffee ground 20% of oil which can be converted into for biodiesel for chemical process. So here that now the coffee powder we are having oil for 20% oil is there. That also is converted into biodiesel purpose we can use. That the biochar is here, that organic product from the agricultural product. Example, Indian coffee plants we are uprooting and removing from the tree. That is simply that wasting our this one that now is converted into the biochar used by the heating for agricultural product by the biomass polymer 460 that the carbon contain 35% to 60%. Nature of the byproduct and the processing methods. This also that they used by the inorganic fertilizer. We can use for composting for all the coffee plants and the pepper oils also. These are the commercially available biochar in the market. We are now government organization and the private people all are doing for the biochar. So now that very commercially available in the market. Then another one is that Kasara coffee. We are with method we are getting from that coffee. That coffee is now you go for that for the shade drilling and then example for the solar dryer and that now you can get for after drying. This is for then the customer only. This directly powdered and directly can now that not only is misled and other one must be go for coffee leaves also you can collect it and then dry it and then you just now roast it then you can powder. This also you can take for customer coffee. Nowadays everyone now very doing for after directly breeding is a customer coffee nowadays is very famous in India. Then after customer tea powder. Then the our customer now the tea industry. So now the ginger tea, cardamom tea, everything became nowadays breeding. Then same thing only you can go for that customer dried customer. We can add dried ginger all spices, that all spices leaf and the cardamom seeds. He can do for value addition. He go for that customer tea powder. Directly on the discussion on the based on that fifth tea only then we can drink for fifth coffee also. There also can wait for mild that medium coffee and strong coffee. That also you can drink. These are also one of the value additions now here. That is castor oil. Now nowadays there now the coffee fruits nowadays now some of the farmers now we do for the castor oil also. We know that whatever the fruits now coming out and the mushy and the pulpy and remove of that unwanted discarded material and you go for custard, that custard oil. That dyed custard. Then afterwards, you can add that pulp to this one. Okay, that now mixes you can add, and then for the anaerobic condition. Then after now adding water and boil or cool condition. Then for yeast, that saccharophore mixes you can add, then add sugar, then the fermentation for 14 days, then after processing, then aging 2 days, then bottling. So afterwards, no, you get for castor oil. This is the field of the castor oil. Ultimately, you can drink wine. These are the byproducts we can get from coffee. We said that we get from the pectin extraction, and the pectin extraction we get for cellular degrading agent. These enzymes are used for the textile industry and the dyeing industry. Another thing that the cosmetic industry, the Greek of detergent used for the face washing and the hair washing. Then that the mosquito repellent. This one for that spring coffee grounds used for the mixed cola. This is for repellent for mosquito repellent. Then the record remark production. This is for that whenever that controlled coffee. This is for that castor coffee or this one that waste one can use it for root diseases. This is for particularly the dark diseases, root diseases, and the sunflower diseases, and the control the pepper root return. Then the mushroom production. So wherever not available in Pakistan, there we can use for officers along with the Pakistan, they produce it for oyster mushroom purpose. Then that is single day or hand coffee. Here that is hand coffee that 20 to 50% initially you go for white honey, that is sun-dried honey and the savory honey. Okay, then another the 100% initially honey coffee used for golden coffee. That is for sun-dried coffee and the savory coffee and the complete black coffee. So this is also that is different evaluation we are doing there. So these are the final product you can get for white honey, yellow honey, golden honey, black honey. These are the coffee valuation we are getting for semi-dry or honey coffee. So these are the coffee related that processing and the byproduct for leaf and the first step and the initially and the coffee powder we will get for value addition. These are the for not only production aspect and after that harvesting and the processing and the value addition of the you can get more info. Thank you. Thank you, Mamta.
On to the next technical talk, which is on post-harvest technologies and machineries for coffee processing. For this session, we have with us Dr. T.N. Gopinathan Sir, Divisional Head, Post-Harvest Technology, CCRA Coffee Board. Sir holds a MSc degree in Botany and PhD in Microbiology. His research publications include more than 29 full-length research papers, 2 book chapters, and 24 popular articles. Sir, current research areas include coffee quality improvement, value addition of coffee byproducts, and treatment of coffee effluent. Sir is currently heading the Post-Harvest Technology Division. We welcome you to this webinar, sir.
And this presentation focuses on post-harvest technologies and machineries for coffee processing. Can I have the next slide, please? I will start the presentation with the global scenario of the coffee industry. Coffee is the second largest traded commodity in the world, and it is grown over 80 countries across the world. It is mostly produced in developing countries like Asia, Africa, and Central and South America. and it is consumed mostly in the developed countries. Coffee is produced in the developing countries, but it is consumed in the developed countries like Europe, Japan, Russia, and US. The total global area under coffee cultivation is 112 lakh hectares, and the production is 101 lakh metric ton. Consumption is 100 lakh metric ton, and the total number of coffee consumed per day is 2.25 billion cups. And it's the annual turnover is 200 billion USD. 200 billion USD. Indian scenario. Coming to Indian scenario, India is the 7th largest producer of coffee in the world, and Brazil is topping the list, followed by Vietnam, Colombia, Indonesia, Ethiopia, and Honduras. The total area under coffee cultivation in India is 4.7 lakh hectares, which represent 4% of the total global coffee area. Production is 3.4 lakh metric ton, which represent 3.5% of the total coffee production. So India is the minor player in the world market. And in India, coffee is the export-oriented commodity. About 70% of India coffee goes to the international market, and the remaining 30% is consumed internally. Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu are the traditional coffee growing areas in India, which occupy 79% of the area. Coffee is also grown in Andhra Pradesh and Odisha, which occupy 20% of the area. It is also grown in northeastern states like Assam, and the area occupied is 1%. Though there are no more than 100 coffee species are available in the world, only 2 coffee species are grown on commercial scale all over the world. One is Coffea arabica, popularly known as Arabica coffee. The other one is Coffea canifera, which is called Robusta coffee. The basic difference between Arabica and Robusta coffee is that Arabica contain less caffeine. The average caffeine content in Arabica coffee is 1%, whereas the Robusta coffee contain 2.5% of caffeine. And Arabica coffee is aromatic, flavorful, mild acidic, but weak body, whereas Robusta coffee is bitter due to more caffeine content, but strong body. And Arabica coffee is superior in quality, and Robusta coffee is relatively low quality to Arabica. Next. Now, there are 3 levels in coffee processing. There are 3 levels in coffee processing. One is primary processing, secondary processing, and tertiary processing. Primary processing happens at the estate level or the on-farm level, which includes harvesting, processing, drying, bagging, and storage. Secondary processing happens at coffee curing factories, which includes hulling of coffee samples, size grading, cleaning, bagging, and export. And tertiary processing is basically retailing, which involves roasting, grinding, blending, packaging, brewing, and consumption. And all over the world, coffee is processed by 2 methods. One is wet method, the other one is dry method. Mostly Arabica coffee is mainly processed by wet method, whereas Robusta coffee is largely processed by dry method. Now, as far as India is concerned, about 80% of Indian Arabica is wet processed, which gives parchment coffee, and 85% of Indian Robusta is dry processed, which gives the cherry coffee. First, we will discuss about wet method. Wet method involves lot of steps, starting with selective harvesting of ripe cherries. These are the ripe cherries, followed by pulping of ripe cherries using pulper machines. When coffees are pulped, the fruit skin is removed, and you will get 2 coffee beans surrounded with the mucilage. Then coffee beans are subjected to fermentation to break down the mucilage surrounding the beans, and Arabica coffee takes 24 hours to complete the fermentation, whereas Robusta takes 60 hours to complete the fermentation. Once the fermentation is over, the fermented coffees are now washed with clean water using the washer machines. Then you will get wet parchment. The wet parchment is again soaked in water for about overnight to remove the residual mucilage. This step is called post-wash soaking of the washed parchment. After the post-wash soaking, the wet parchment is sun-dried for about 5 to 6 days. Once the moisture reaches to 10% level, then it is bagged and stored at the estate level for about 2 to 3 months. So the end product of wet processing is parchment coffee. Right? So I start with selective harvesting, then pulping, fermentation, washing, post-wash soaking, sun-drying, moisture determination, and storage and bagging and storage at the estate level. Some planters, they will skip the fermentation process. After pulping, immediately after pulping, the coffee beans are fed into the washer. Then it is washed. Then you will get the wet parchment. So there are two methods within the wet method. There are two routes actually. One is fermentation. The other one is not fermentation. And people, those who are now making specialty coffee, they do the fermentation. Then now, and then they will follow the remaining steps. So for production of specialty coffee, the fermentation is a very must and should actually. The second method is dry method. The dry method is now relatively simpler. It starts with harvesting of cherries by stripping. So while coffees are stripped, they will be using harvesting mat or the picking mat to collect the fruits. Then the harvested cherries are sorted out to remove the unripe or the semi-ripe fruits. These are the sorted fruits. And then it is sun-dried for about 10 to 12 days. Then when the moisture level reaches to 11%, then the dried cherries are cleaned, then bagged and stored at the estate level for about 2 to 3 months. So the end product of dry method is cherry coffee. So the end product of wet method is parchment coffee, whereas the end product of the dry method is cherry coffee. So these are the steps involved. Pictorial representation of the dry processing method: stripping, sorting, sun drying, moisture determination, cleaning, then bagging and storage. And these are the sun drying of parchment coffee samples using wooden trays or the metallic trays. And this is the sun drying of parchment coffee samples and cherry coffee samples on the drying floors. You can use either concrete drying floors or the tiled drying floors. These are the two drying floors recommended by the boards. And some of the planters are using mechanical dryers to dry the coffee. And the recommended temperature is 40 degree. And parchment coffee takes 24 hours, whereas cherry coffee takes 60 hours. This is static mechanical dryer. And this is rotary mechanical dryer. And between static and rotary mechanical dryer is very effective because it rotates the coffee very well. And some planters are using polyhouse solar dryers also. Now you can see the parchment sample being dried under the polyhouse solar dryers. And the advantage with polyhouse solar dryer is it protects the coffee samples from the unseasonal rains. And in India, coffee harvesting season starts from November to February. And because of recent climatic changes, now we are receiving unseasonal rains during harvesting and processing. Now previous slide. Now during coffee processing and harvesting season, so nowadays planters are adopting these polyhouse solar dryers to protect their coffee samples from the unseasonal rains. Now this is you can see the cherry coffee samples being dried in the solar dryers. And now this slide, this particular slide explains about the coffee yield. What is the outturn we get now when we process coffee fruits? How much parchment coffee we get, how much cherry coffee we get, and how much coffee beans we will get. So I will explain now. And 1 ton of fruits, 1 ton of or 1000 kg of fruits, when processed by wet method, you will get 250 kg of parchment coffee. And when it is processed by dry method, you will get 400 kg of cherry coffee, right? So wet method, you will get 250 kg of parchment. Dry method, you will get 400 kg of cherry coffee. When 1 ton or 1000 kg of parchment coffee is hulled, you will get 800 kg of coffee bean. Whereas if you hull 1 ton of cherry coffee, you will get 500 kg of coffee bean. So this is what we call it as coffee yield or the coffee outturn. Coming to the secondary processing of coffee samples. Now the parchment coffee and cherry coffee produced at the estates are dispatched to the curing factories, coffee curing factories, where it is hulled to remove the outer envelope or the outer cover using the industrial hullers. So when coffees are hulled, you will be getting bulk coffee beans, which contains all sort of grades: A grade, B grade, C grade, and P berries. So following the hulling, the coffees are graded based on the size using industrial graders. So after hulling, the coffees are graded based on size using the industrial graders. A grade is 6.65 mm, B grade is 5.5 mm, C is 5 mm, and P berry is 4.5 mm. So after the grading, the coffee beans are sorted out to remove the defective beans or the black beans, particularly the black beans. either manually or electronic color sorters are available. Electronic color sorters are will be removing all the black beans. So this process is called garbling or sorting. Garbling of the coffee beans or the sorting of the coffee beans. Once this sorting is over, then the clean coffee beans are bagged in food grade jute bags and then exported to various destinations. So as far as secondary processing concerns, it starts with the hulling of coffee samples, hulling of the parchment or hulling of the cherry. Then it is graded using the industrial graders. Then it is garbled to remove the defective beans. Then it is bagged in food grade jute bags. Then it is exported to various destinations. Next slide. Next slide, please. And this is an overview, and this is a view of coffee curing factories. Now you can see the industrial graders here. Peaberry, PB stands for Peaberry, A grade, then you have B grade, C grade, then cuts and bits. So this is an industrial graders equipment or the machinery. Now the moment you put the bulk coffee beans, based on the size, it will be graded and it will be collected in a different channels. Next slide, please. And now this is the bagging and storing of clean coffee samples. And it is coffee beans are bagged in jute bags. There is a particular brand is called Ejira bags. Ejira stands for Indian Jute Institute Research Association, based at Calcutta. This is a food grade gunny bags, and it is lined with the nanoplastic bags. This is the nanoplastic bags, and this nanoplastic bag give complete protection from the moisture damage. Because coffee is should be dried and stored at 10% or 11%. If there is any moisture migration during transit, it will spoil the coffee quality. That's why now we recommend gunny bag lined with nanoplastic bag. These nanoplastic bags give 100% protection from the moisture damage. Next. Next slide. Coming to tertiary processing. Previous slide. Now coming to tertiary processing start with roasting of coffee beans. Then it is grounded. After the roasting the roasted coffee beans are grounded using coffee grinders. Then it is blending of grounded coffees from different countries or different origin. Blending is a secret process. It will not be revealed. So they will buy the coffee from different countries or different origin. They will blend in a different particular proportion. Then coffee will be brewed. Then you will get the final beverage, either black coffee, mainly the black coffee. So this is the entire coffee value chain. It starts with coffee fruits, entered it in the coffee beverage, the decoction or the concoction or the brew we call it. Next one. And the Coffee Board is now offering a postgraduate diploma in coffee quality management system. It is a 1-year course. And now at the end of the course, the students will be becoming coffee quality expert or coffee cuppers or coffee tasters. And you can you can contact my colleague, Dr. Mandappa. He is heading the coffee quality division. And every year now we take about 12 to 15 students for this course. And this is a 3 semesters course. And first semester will be now happening at CCRI, Central Coffee Research Institute. And the second semester and third semester will be happening in the Coffee Quality Division, Bangalore. Next slide, please. And Coffee Board has Atal Incubation Center, which encourages business innovation in coffee sector, coffee-based startups, and the production of value-added coffees. I thank the NIF team for providing me an opportunity now to present a PPT on post-harvest processing and now this coffee machinery. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Next, we'll proceed to the next technical talk, which is on innovative technologies in flavor enhancement of coffee. For this session, we have with us Dr. Pushpa S. Murthy, Senior Principal Scientist, Spice and Flavor Science Department, CFTRI, Mysore. Madam obtained her MSc Microbiology from Bangalore University, Karnataka, and PhD in Biotechnology from University of Mysore, and postdoctorate at the National Institute of Food Research, Japan. She started her career as a research assistant in Coffee Board, India, having more than 20 years of research experience in the area of biotechnology and coffee processing sector. She has developed about 7 technologies and holds 3 patents. Madam has published over 38 research papers in various national and international journals, 8 popular articles, and many more. She also has been honored as National Jury for evaluating Indian coffee for International Coffee Flavor Cupping Competition held at Specialty Coffee Association of America and Europe. She is a member of various associations including Association of Microbiologists of India, Association of Food Scientists and Technologists of India, and many more. Madam has also been invited as a speaker on the topic Biotechnological Valorization of Coffee Byproducts by International School of Biotechnology, University of Osaka, Japan. We welcome you to this webinar, Madam.
Thank you so much. Very good morning to all of them here, and my special greetings and regards to NIFTM for a kind consideration to really share my bit of experience on coffee today in this platform. I also thank Dr. Senthil and all the team of Coffee Board of India, who are very good friends of mine, and a privilege to share a little bit, minute knowledge on coffee with the other participants who are very eagerly waiting to listen to me on this topic. All the while I was being talking more about coffee and what I have worked on basically. But today, for just a change, I would like to share what more can be done from the coffee industry. Am I audible to all the participant here? Is the voice clear or the slides clear before I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear. You can go
Oh,
ahead.
thank you so much. Well, I come from CFTRI, Central Food Research Technological Institute. Just to brief in two lines, it's an esteemed technological research institute. Today, on focusing on just coffee, we have been 6 decades old department working on coffee, but we have handled international, national, and industrial funded projects. We have 2 patents exclusively on coffee and 14 coffee process know-how, transferred coffee technologies to more than 50 or 100 industries. Academically, we have about 70 plus research publication on various aspects of post harvesting, then the extraction of the biomolecules from coffee, wherein approximately 75 research scholars and MSc students have worked on. We are also representative of members in FSSI and Bureau of Indian Standards. I don't want to take much time here where Dr. Senthil and even Dr. Gopinathan just talked about the production, export, where do we stand. But in a nutshell, if I would like to share 23-24, the production 178 million 60 kg bags to 177 of the consumption. We are always steadily increasing, wherein billions of families or the livelihood is into the coffee industry, directly or indirectly, right from the estate to that of a serving baristas, and also understanding the circular economy conversion waste to wealth. As it was well spoken by the previous speaker, we are producers, but then the consumption is too less. Where we would like to see that an approximate cup of coffee would somewhere average to about $1 to $6 per cup. With this background, narrowing it down to India, yes, it's the sixth largest producer. We are exporting majorly for main countries like Italy, Germany, and with back again, the consumption, the per capita consumption is only 300 grams. If you're always relying on the export market, and when we have some threats, how to go on? We need an opportunities where programs like this PMFME, where it is of contemporary relevance and alignment with nation's aspiration, repurposing basic research, where the regulatory bodies would like to come in a platform to address and also uplift with government schemes. And I'm sure the competitiveness of Indian coffee will intensify exports as well as the in domestic consumption. The common threats all of us know is the climate, the biodiversity issues with changing environment. Well, the compliance of the innovation in the benchmarking. We have coffee productivity influenced due to long dry spells and hot weather in some areas. The endangered coffee varieties, rust and board management, Of course, the chemicals, pesticides, insecticides, which is also one of the toxins, mycotoxins, which is also one of the parameters or the critical things for export market. Then, what do? The science, the technology, when taken as a societal mission, I think we need to talk about the innovation. The innovation with the startups, the processing, the primary, tertiary, and the complete circular economy or the life cycle assessment right from the seed to cup. We need low cost technology. We need the stakeholders from the coffee industry to see what can be done. With all those things consistently working, we have developed some of the technologies related to coffee. The basic ones which we are being rendering to the various industries in coffee is coffee concentrate, which is a ready a liquid coffee, a spouted bed coffee roaster, the microbial inoculum for the management of coffee pulp effluent, which is one of the sector in the coffee estate management with respect to pollution. We have coffee flake based mouth freshener, fluorogenic acid rich coffee conserves from green coffee beans. Instant coffee cubes, it's a product of convenience. Chlorogenic acid enriched instant coffee cubes, which adds a health benefits, which is rich in antioxidants. Bioactive molecules of rich green coffee extract, and of course, the coffee leaf brew mix. These are the few technologies we offer from the Institute. Now, with this backdrop, what do we need more? The coffee industry is constantly evolving with new technologies emerging to enhance flavor and quality to the final product. We need to embrace them so that there is a combination of consumer demand, industry competition, supply chain challenges, and sustainability concerns, and of course, the health trends. So, this we have stepped into the era of innovative coffee processing. What exactly in the primary line we can afford to? It is we developed new process that is the bioengineered fermentation, wherein the advanced fermentation process like honey coffee, carbon maceration, and addition of fruits and pulps, which combine together to develop a unique flavor profiles. It enhances sweetness, reduce the negative flavor components, and of course create a novel taste experiences. Let me state this is apart from the normal regular fermentation, which is the wet coffee fermentation that most of them follow in the coffee estates. So, what exactly these do? They improve the flavor profiles and standalone coffees, which can be attributed for the unique flavors. One of them is the pulp natural honey coffees, which we have done it in our laboratory and of course favorable for the coffee industry too, wherein this also reduces about 80% of water. Conservation of water, as I told you, the pollution is one of the important things, but the enormous quantity of water is used for the processing. In this regard, we have a unique, innovative honey coffee processing, of course, categorized in yellow, red, and black honey, which attracts attention for the specialty coffee and rates about 80 plus in the sensory evaluation scores. Of course, the dynamic profiles of the chemistry of the compounds are also very uniform and consistent. So here the fresh pulp coffee beans are being directly submerged into the drying yard, taken account of the specific relative humidity and the drying temperature. Constant heaping and raking is being maintained. After the optimization of the beans, which is turned out with a moisture of 11%, then the beans are cleared. So this is one of the promising approach for sustainability and of course the circular economy. Moving forward, we have an anaerobic fermentation. Generally, the ripe coffee cherries here are pulped and fermented using a sealed tank with a one-way valve to stop the inflow of oxygen. There is an activity of the microbes which really bring about the fermentation process. There is the demucilation that has been happening because of the acids and sugars which act along with the enzymes and complete the process. During this process, there is a huge activity happening in the processing of the fermentation stage by stage, and overall improves the sweetness and acidity, obtaining a coffee with more body, that is the viscosity. So you have an improved cup quality in this fermentation. Moving on to the carbonic maceration. Yes, again, this is the carbonic maceration tank wherein the coffee cherries devoid of the carbon dioxide in the closed container leads to fermentation. The process at around 38 degree or plus or minus 2 for about 120 hours is being maintained. This needs a very good skills for operating this process. Otherwise, it gets over fermented and you have lot of negative profiles that will come out. So when understood well and operated well, I'm sure we can go to the score of 85 plus. And of course, it is one of the specialty coffee. The microbial growth control is one of the critical parameter in this process. So likewise, we also have a new experimental trials that goes on the field with addition of fruits and vegetable pulps or some spices that has been thrown on the coffee beans, which really bring about the different flavor and aroma. Maybe it is penetrating in the coffee beans and in the end cup of the coffee evaluation, these notes are being very strong. So of course, this is an expensive traditional processing because there is an addition of some of the fruit extracts that goes on, may not be suitable for all coffee varieties. There is a need of research that has to get and extended in this area. Now, primarily on the estate coffee, after looking those things, what else can we look forward? What technologies can we look forward for enhancement of flavor in coffee? Coffee bean, when you really look into the science, it is very complex. I think 800 plus aromatic compounds are present in coffee bean. It contains of sugars, it contains fiber, minerals, proteins, polyphenol, and of course the aromatic components. Understanding the matrix of this coffee bean, it is very essential how exactly we can capture the best roast so that you get a better brew and enjoy a cup of coffee. So moving forward, the chemical approaches of coffee roasting, once you have a good raw material on hand, how do you continue to hang on producing a better coffee? The dynamics of coffee roasting is quite interesting. When looking forward, we have important things like Maillard reactions that is happening, wherein basically the amino acids and the sugars on roasting gives you a flavor components like melanoids, which contributes to the dark color and of course rich flavor of roasted coffee. Thereon, we have caramelization, wherein the sugars at high temperature produce caramel-like flavors. Further, pyrolysis, the thermal decomposition of organic compounds at high temperatures releases volatile aromatic compounds. So, if you can understand the key chemicals here, the volatile aromatic compounds are all the aldehydes, the ketones, which on brewing contributes to the aroma of coffee. Moving forward, acids. Acids are very important in contributing the bitterness of the coffee. Basically, of course, the caffeine, which also contribute to the bitterness, which is an alkaloid. Thereby, we also have chlorogenic acid, which is one of the main acids which influences coffee. Moving forward, sugars. Sugars are the one of the fantastic contributors to the sweetness and also increases the total soluble solids of the sugar, I mean of the liquor that when brewed we all enjoy. So holding these key parameters while roasting is one of the key steps. How exactly can we bring about these things while roasting? The precision roasting technologies. See, we have now moved to technology of them to unprecedented precision in roasting process. They have monitor real-time temperature curves and bean development, the first crack typing, then you have a bean density and the moisture content in it, and create a repeatable roast profiles for batch to batch, and you have consistency that has been very essential. Moving on to infrared roasting technology. Yes, it's a new approach in coffee roasting wherein you have even heat distribution throughout the bean, which reduces crotching, better preservation of organic compounds, and of course, enhance development and complex flavor notes. Moving on to the advanced extraction methods like ultrasonic processing, the 3D printing, AI machine learning, IoT enabled coffee machines. These things which want to share, we have this technique of high frequency sound waves where they disrupt the cell walls of the coffee beans for more efficient extraction process. The IoT enabled coffee devices like smart devices can communicate with each other, ensuring like precise measurements, optimal extraction, and of course the consistent flavor profiles. So this could be important things which roasting techniques could contribute in sufficing enhancement of flavor. We have the new methods like ultrasonic cavitation. This is again on sound waves, wherein the microscopic bubbles in water that implode generates localized degree of high pressure with a controlled temperature, thereby increases the extraction uniformly with a complete full of flavor profiles. Moving on to the grinding, once you have an excellent roasting beans available on hand, the understanding the particle size, having an apt particle grind size is essential. Ultra low temperature grind technology called as cryogenic grinding freezes beans to approximately minus 190 degree using liquid nitrogen. There is a distribution of the particle size which preserves volatile aromatic components, thereby reducing oxidation, which is very essential. Of course, this is the major difference between the instant coffee and the freshly grounded roasted beans, wherein oxidation and the release of aromatic profiles makes a huge difference. We also have an intervention of the enzyme technology, application of enzymes to really break down the bitter components in coffee, enhance sweetness perception, improve the mouth feel, and release the bitter notes in, release out the complex flavor notes. So this is one of the new methods that has been emerging and applied in most of the upcoming industries. So thereafter, by roasting, grinding, we move upon to the brewing of coffee value. The sourcing of the coffee or the usage of the right quality of coffee is very essential. Raising the benchmark of coffee you have to enjoy also needs is a choice of using a good quality bean. So, usage of the right beans, specialty beans, freshly ground beans, proper way of stored coffee beans without any fungal growth or rancidity or oxidation is very important. Of course, cleaning the brewing gadgets every time and maintaining them is very essential. We have entered into different brewing methods like pour over, aeropress, siphon, cold brew, nitrogen enhanced brewing, pressure based innovation, and a few more things where it is very well in the market. Once you have roasting, grinding, and the brewing, then how do you look into the flavor flow? Where does the flavor compounds come? How can you enhance the extraction is very important. So these extraction leads you and unwind us to the profiles like enhanced sweetness, bitter acid balance, improved clarity, and more complex aromatics. Then the role of water quality comes and the right temperature. Water quality integration, right choice of water with the determination of pH, mineral content, the TDS of the water pressure, then temperature and mineral interaction. If you have an alkaline water, acidic water, the neutral water, all those things influences in brewing a good cup of coffee. Thereby moving on, the temperature management, the stability, the heat distribution patterns, the gradient flow impacts on the volatile compounds and releases thermal shocks, which gradually, uh, hangs on with the liquor in the brew. After brewing, where do we stand? The sensory profiles with a new technological innovation, that is, which contributes to the improved extraction, better preservation of volatile compounds, enhanced development of desired flavor notes, greater control of the entire process. This is always bounded and looped with consumer satisfaction. Always taste is an individual perception, and there is nothing called as the good coffee because the strong, moderate, or the light coffee all is on the consumer perception. However, flavor improvement metrics, taste consistency, understanding the consumer per se on the taste they want, sensory evaluation methods with a trained coffee taster, understanding the price value relationship of every cup which needs an additional ingredients or the flavor or a right cup is intervened. By doing all this thing, it is not an easy journey. We also have critical analysis framework for technologies, wherein and every additional step, every additional ingredient acts on the operational requirements, economic consideration, scalability, environmental impact, the regulatory compliance. So we need to adapt to the technology upgrade potential, process modification, the new bean variety compatibility, market trend responsive, and of course, the innovation integration capability. So, besides water, temperature grinds at, we should not over extract it where it pinches our purse. With all this understanding, what is the opportunity we have on hand to have a smart coffee? We can always explore flavored adds on, like some of the traditional spices, herbs, looking forward for milk alternatives, adding flavor additives, flavor enhancers, natural flavorings, or natural identical flavors, flavor encapsulation. We can embrace this technology with nano encapsulation. We can look forward for smart coffee machines and of course encourage lot of coffee pruners who are having innovations. They create a new coffees. There are a wonderful startup MSME all coming into loop and encouraged by the incubation centers and various schemes of governments where the innovation is seeing the light of the day. So besides on bench of the coffee processing entirely, we can look forward for the coffee products, the value addition, of course, because that is obtained or generated at every step very sequentially and cannot be forbidden. So hence, how do we utilize? I do understand few speakers have already remarked on this application, but one of few things which is not repeated, I would like to place on record, such as coffee flour, coffee energy bar, coffee pulp snacks, coffee infused oils and vinegars for culinary purposes. We do have green coffee, which is on a health per se, the nutraceuticals that can be looked into the food formulations. Green coffee bags, carbonated coffee for the teenagers still to hang on with coffee, probiotic cold coffee, green coffee in chocolates, nutri coffee, and of course the instant coffee cubes. We also have green coffee oil, which can be used with the flour in formulation of coffee cookies. Prebiotics, which is the cello oligosaccharides, which are very important for these days for the gut issues, which can be rediscovered in application of this renewable source in addressing the health issue. Of course, I told you we need to understand the life cycle assessment and the circular economy while looking into the new product or the new innovation, because today it is very essential of sustainability and circular economy, preserving the environment. This is one of the thing which is application of mushrooms using coffee waste. And of course, coffee pulp and cherry has the cascara or the kefir. We can look into the coffee pulp beverage and biogas, bioethanol, microbial enzymes, the anthocyanins that can be produced as a natural colorant for cosmetic applications, and also developing food enzymes which is applied in food processing industries such as xylanase, amylase, pectinase, all from coffee pulp and cherry husk. So, with this, what is the vision? The coffee flavor future. I think we need to understand and work more on the innovation, speed with quality applied in basic research. Plasma enhanced processing is one of the upcoming field, and we need to reorient it and hang on with the coffee industry to move forward in this direction. Innovation in technology, design, having a customizable sizes, understanding the geographical indicators to identify specialty coffees, new coffee tracks, sustainable coffee products, practices, improving technology process transfer, health and wellness, coffee products, and of course the gadget. We all together, unitedly, cooperating with the universities, research institutes like NIFTIN, Coffee Board, CFTRI, the stakeholders of the industry, the innovative startups, everybody can leverage together, fostering collaboration and facilitate new coffee product process analysis protocol development. We at CFTRI are open for the services. We have food analysis, pilot plant facility, PMFME facilities also, and a food business accelerator. The participants can take the pride of utilizing this facility and collaborate with us. So we also have few of the training programs where we run on self-help group industry members, then tailor-made for the industry coffee industry. Looking forward for the tribal welfare, women entrepreneur, and the welfare groups. So please connect with us for the consultation project sponsored collaborative technical support projects and incubation, BIRAC, etc. So please contact the head technology transfer business unit or the website. The protocols are very simple. Communicate to us. We shall demonstrate the technologies and hand over the documents after the formalities has been done. So, dear participants and all the people who have been witnessing my talk for a few seconds, thank you so very much for your patient hearing. Let's brew a new cup of coffee with more insights on emerging opportunities for innovation in coffee. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this interesting presentation. I hope
Thank you.
participants might have got clarity about all these things, what you have explained. Now we'll proceed to the next technical talk, which is on marketing strategies for coffee-based products. For this session, we have with us Dr. N. Senthil Kumar, Professor, Department of Management Studies, Anna University, CEG Campus, Chennai. Sir obtained his MBA from Aladappa University and PhD from Bharathidasan University, Trichy. He is the chairman of Anna University Sports Board and organized various sports events. He has published over 44 research articles in various national and international journals. He wrote 2 books and 1 book chapter and reviewer of reputed national and international journals. Sir is a lifetime member of the various bodies like International Association of Engineering and Technology for Skill Development, Operational Research Society of India, and many more. Sir is currently serving as a professor in Department of Management Studies at Anna University. Welcome you, sir.
Good afternoon, all. As a ma'am gone for the coffee break, let us continue with the. It is entirely a different presentation. It's completely a different sort of presentation from a management perspective. That to the marketing, nobody can deny the role of marketing. Whatever may be the product, either it may be a soap or it may be a coffee or it may be a tea. I thought of sharing with the August audience. It is not about the basics of marketing, how this particular generation is changing from the traditional marketing to the new generation marketing quickly within the time frame allotted to us as a coffee break. The organizers have allotted 20 minutes. We'll run through the presentation. I already requested the organizers to share this PPT. So I already gone through some of the requests. So this PPT will be shared to all the participants. Now, I want to continue with the ma'am's one of the slide, the customer experience, consumer experience. Please remember the entire demography or demographics of the consumer is changing. As a consumer of 50 years age, we are able to differentiate only coffee as a coffee. We know the coffee decoction, or the later we come across with the filter coffee, or as a whatever the instant coffee. Whereas today the entire demographics have completely changed. Already we have seen some of the possible strategies. Just those strategies we need to look into the detail. Obviously, the marketing parlance or the entire marketing is changed. The underlying principle for the change in marketing is very simple. In marketing parlance, we used to tell ARP, average revenue per customer. Please remember, when we are thinking of coffee as a coffee, in the 80s or 90s, if you are able to visit any of the hotels or any of the tea or coffee shop, the coffee sold at the time it is 5 rupees. Please remember, plenty of brands you might aware are, thanks to Uslimani, all remember the Narshus coffee from the Tamil Nadu region, Besh Rumba Nanarke. Please remember, the tagline carries the emotional benefit, or we are talking about the aura of that particular brand. Whereas if you think of the today's scenario, the entire psychographics of the consumer has changed. Today we are talking about the lifestyles, preferences and motivation. We'll take few examples to understand how it is changing. Every consumer now, even my daughter, whenever we go to any mall or thing, previously we used to call it as a coffee, but now they are talking it as a cappuccino or latte or mocha or whatever the versions are. We are talking about the different brewing options. So the entire psychographics change. People are ready to pay hundreds of rupees for a coffee. If you take the CCD Cafe Day as an example, you all aware, it is not a coffee. We are paying 300 rupees not for that coffee, it is for that experience. So that consumer experience changes a lot. The other major dimensions you need to explore, it is an eye-opening session, you can explore more. The consumption habit. Fundamentally, we are talking about the frequency. How frequently, how many cups? The astonishing fact, already we have listened, more than 2.2 billions of cups of coffee are served in a day. Think of the magnitude of the market. Even if the frequency is double, frequency is triple, think of the magnitude. Whenever we are traveling on the roadside, you may notice many of the brands. You call it as the only coffee or Karpati coffee or whatever the brand you may associate with. Now a new chain from a new generation entrepreneurs, they are talking about the coffee with recharge. It is not only recharging the mobile phones, it is also recharging the individual. So obviously the brewing methods, each one, many of the people, they prefer to have their own brewing mechanism in their home so that they can decide the aroma or fragrance or whatever the thing. Plenty of opportunities, as I think we are repeating the global market size, the players, I think already the other speakers have covered. So the high quality, ethically sourced coffee. Please remember, you all know the other side of the same coin, the coffee cultivation. We are talking about the exploitation of water as a major resource. The specialty coffees, we are talking about plenty of methodologies or varieties. So obviously, why today everyone is talking about coffee? Obviously, as we already discussed, the rapid growth, the urbanization. We call it as young, affluent, demographic coffee consumption. If you take the IT guys, even maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes, they want to spend the time as a qualitative time with a quality coffee. As ma'am already highlighted, plenty of mechanisms are used. The specialty coffee in terms of brewing methods or the mixture or whatever you think, the preference is changing, especially we are into the high quality product. As I already mentioned, the underlying theme is we are increasing the average revenue per customer. It's not 5 rupees, we are talking about few hundreds of rupees. As a family in a decent hotel, people are ready to spend few hundreds of rupees for a cup of coffee. That is a scenario we have reached. What is that? It is changing over the years, as I already mentioned, from the 80s, 90s. If you are talking about a new generation, millennials, we used to call the generation Z. people are talking about the traditional to modern. The cup of coffee, we are talking about all the possibilities in terms of the traditional change, in terms of the variety or in terms of brew or the temperature at which it's served. Already we have listened to the different possible brewing methodology and so on. Obviously, the specialty coffee shops, plenty of brands are evolving in the market. Plenty of brands. Later, at the conclusion, we'll be talking about some of the successful players. They have revolutionized the market from our country in the last year. So, as you already mentioned, the lifestyle is changing. The entire lifestyle. Even it may be 3 or 4, they are sparing a lot of time for a sip of coffee. As a ritual, as a lifestyle choice, plenty of changes. That beverage, either you call it as tea or coffee or whatever the choice. So many of the marketers, they are concentrating on the origin. They are talking about the sourcing in different brands, the practices they follow, the fermentation. Already we have listened to the many lectures. The concept we are inculcating in the marketing phenomena, in the today's sense, we are talking about storytelling. Storytelling is a concept which carry on lot of hidden meaning to the individual consumers. I am trying to project my product as a package. It is not only consuming that 150 ml of coffee, it is like a experience, as mentioned, that consumer experience plays a role. So the passion, dedication of all the chain of people, the entire supply chain, plenty of points to be pondered. So regional flavors, as you all aware, the chicory mix or whatever the ratio, the fragrance, how long we can retain the first decantation or second decantation. So plenty of bloggers are available nowadays, are experts, freelancers. They're talking about the recommendations in terms of different options. So the cultural integration, especially if you think of the South Indian people, they want to start with a coffee, they want to end the day with the coffee. So number of cups of, you might be familiar with the particular region, the Tanjore district, the entire Kumbhavanam people are talking about Kumbhavanam filter coffee. The utensils that is used to serve the coffee plays a role. So marketing, plenty of opportunities are there. What are the product offerings? Ma'am has already touched upon few things. Just to continue, the cold brew coffee, you all aware, the cold coffee as an entire, it has opened up a separate market by itself. The other component, the flavored coffee, that infusing not only honey or maybe fruits or spices, herbs. That is the pellets, plenty of market or generator markets are open for that. The coffee infused product, thanks to the previous speakers, they also touched upon the infusing mechanism that is possible in the coffee. Very frequently we come across with the chocolate. The other aspect when it comes to the marketing point of view, that you can be, call it as in the marketing parlance, we use a terminology called USP, unique selling proposition. For the beginners, just to, that is the area where we can differentiate my product from the competitors' products. What is that extra that is available in my product compared to the competitors' products? If that is the case, today, if you are able to visit the, let us take the Starbucks as an example, starting from the particular package design. For the new generation kids, they prefer to see either it may be Insta Reels or Snapchat or whatever with social media platform. Obviously, the marketer should ensure that their social media presence is very, very vital. You all aware, many of the marketers started giving a lot of discounts. If you like that particular social media page, or if you are writing review, instantly, if you are sitting in a cafe day, if you are posting a review, you'll be getting an instant discount of 10%. So obviously, they are using a social media marketing strategy. The other aspect is, I don't want to enter into your store. How I can consume it in my place. Obviously, the other market which is opening up to the common public from the marketer's point of view, the online ordering and delivery. Please remember, the packaging comes in handy for us. You all familiar with the many of the beverages, or you take chaiwala or chai tea or plenty of other entrepreneurial guys. Now the ready-made use and throw paper-based thermostatic materials, or we call it as the flask material, is available to retain the heat. Online ordering delivery, even for few cups, it is possible. That obviously the customer experience, how I can enhance the customer experience, obviously the digital content. Digital content, plenty of stalwarts are pumping in money to make sure that they come across with those posts in different platforms. They are using, as I already mentioned, the influencers' role is very pivotal in this marketing. The influencers, plenty of influencers in terms of the number of subscribers or whatever the thing, plenty of people they are identifying as the brand ambassadors. So brand ambassadors, they are trying to ensure that they carry that particular brand. So the experiences we have already covered. Also now people are talking about the strategic partnership. Please remember, plenty of opportunities. The coffee vending point can be installed in many possible locations. If you are able to visit any of the hotels or any of the malls, any of the eating outlets or any of the offices, if you take the IT offices, plenty of brewing mechanisms are installed in the offices. Obviously, we are ensuring that we are able to get a long-term or average revenue is very high from that particular vending machine. So strategic partnership in terms of all possible locations. Obviously, you all aware the biggest advantage of the placing the automatic vending machine is that 24/7/365 availability. So that is 24/7 every time. Whenever I'm talking about, you are familiar with the explosion of food streets. Now the entire mindset change. People are ready to take whatever the food at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. till midnight. Obviously, that is possible nowadays. What is the social impact? Yes, we are using or we are into, there are possibility that unfair trade practices is there. So we should ensure that it is ethical. The sustainable farming, I think the previous speakers have in detail covered the sustainable farming. The community development. Obviously, the plenty of people in the, especially from the downtown area, they are involved in the farming. We need to ensure that they are taken care. Now, as I mentioned, we'll quickly take up some of the practical illustrations for the beginners or who are interested to enter into this particular venture of coffee marketing. As you have mentioned, across the globe, the Honduras as a country we might not aware, very few might aware, but today we able to understand that before India as a player, their production. So obviously compare the size. So obviously the market, plenty of possibilities of explosion of using coffee as a brand. So obviously you all aware they're growing rapidly. Urbanization, obviously the urban-rural divide. People are ready to pay affluent customers. So what are the things they have done? How many of you are familiar with, I don't know, how many of you are familiar with this particular premium brand? We call it as Blue Tokai. So they have carved a niche in the presence of their product in the online market. So they come out with different tastes, different flavors, different aroma, different mechanisms as a package. You can order, you can get. They ensure that quality focus, whatever the previous speakers highlighted, the quality, the storytelling about each and every variety. What is the specialty about that particular variety? How it is created. That omni-channel strategy. Omni-channel strategy is a strategy where we are trying to incorporate all possible means of delivery. It is not only online, it is not only in the kirana shop, it is not only in the supermarkets, it is available across all platforms, all mediums. As a FMCG good, the FMCG stands for fast moving consumer goods. As you all aware, this is a very fast moving consumer goods. People buy frequently. So obviously the product should be available at all possible outlets. So obviously the specialty coffee, the Blue Tokai as an example, the other one, please remember that premium says it. It is not 5 rupee, 50 rupee coffee. We are talking about few hundreds of for a cup of coffee. You all familiar as a Nestle premium player in the market. the premiumization of the coffee market, they have done a very beautiful strategies in terms of varieties, in terms of different choice, different tastes across the globe, the digital presence, the product diversification in terms of all possibilities, where it is instant coffee, ready to drink. Whoever traveled in the many of the premium trains, you might understand the importance of premiumization and ready to drink coffee. Just we need to add hot water alone. That is enough. Just it is exploring a different market for the different players. So you call it as Vande Bharat or Tejas, almost all the trains they are moved into the ready to drink coffee. Just we need to cut open the pouch. People will add hot water, ready to consume. People are satisfied. The other brand, I think in the afternoon you will be listening to Kothas Coffee, another premium player in the market. They revolution the market. The another one which I have chosen is the Costa Coffee. Please remember the entire layout, they have gone for the modernization. Starting from the swanky chairs or the entire uniformity in modernization, they are able to reach the consumers in all possible directions. In marketing, we call it as 360-degree campaigns. It is not only through retailers, it is not only through the social media, not only in the advertisements, they try all vertical, horizontal and all complicated marketing options. Also, they are able to expand their presence in all possible new ventures, either in maybe airports or on the roads or on the premium office spaces. As you all aware, the Tata with the coupled with the Starbucks, the world presence, you all aware the success of the Starbucks. But as a local flavor, they are able to attach that local adaptation. Whatever is possible, they are coming out with the localized menu. It is possible for them. As you all aware, the digital presence is mandatory for all. Also, that SDG goals, everywhere, every marketer, they are supposed to follow that sustainability practices. So they are doing it very well. These are some of the examples I want to share with you. Today, what is happening in the Indian market with respect to the coffee? Obviously, the stories, they are trying to resort to the storytelling concept. They are trying to ensure the authenticity of that particular variety of that particular coffee beans. They are trying to connect that consumer experience with the lifestyle alignment. Morning, if you want to refresh yourself, you need to start with a coffee. Whenever you are feeling tired, people are trying to ensure that you are going for a coffee break. So the already covered plenty of web page, not only the all possible social media. Please remember, every day we are bombarded with many of the social. How we can change that particular product element. Obviously, that innovation, plenty of options are available in terms of the flavor determination, the brewing method. Already many people have touched upon that. That is possible, and other speakers also will be talking about the same, that ingredients, all possibilities, either adding the pepper or maybe spices or cardamom or whatever the things, sweeteners, alternatives, or plenty of options they are trying. So that is possible. So obviously the other opportunities in terms of color, the packaging, how I can keep that particular aroma intact. We are talking about the Ziploc cover or everyday sales cover, whatever the new generation, that is possible. So that branding, how my product is to be named, what is the image, obviously plenty of opportunities for the marketers to determine. Whenever we are traveling or whenever we are seeing that yellow color and black color, we are able to connect with the Karpati coffee nowadays. That is the success of that particular brand presence. Whether I feel good with the coffee or not, that is different, but I am able to connect with the color and the particular shape. So likewise, brand identity plays a vital role. The packaging. The next comes the distribution. How quickly I am able to reach the outlets. How fresh the product is. Obviously, plenty of opportunities are there. The supply chain models, optimizations are taking place. How quickly the freshly brewed coffee is distributed to the outlets. So what should be the shelf life? How long that aroma will be intact? All those things have to be analyzed. There are many players, successful players, as we already discuss some of the examples that direct to consumer sales are possible nowadays. So digital marketing, starting from the website design or social media marketing or email marketing, online advertising, OTT as a platform, now you may see, or as a YouTube as a content creation or distribution, you all aware the advertisement is possible in all mediums. I think this we already covered, I'm running through. So what are the takeaways? We need to determine the target audience. Who are all the users who are going to use my product? So obviously the possibilities includes the product innovation, brand building, digital engagement, sustainability. We need to determine the growth opportunities. Either I need to increase my presence either by franchisee model or by the cell phone factory outlet model, whatever the options, the consumer trends, how it is changing, how I need to take care of that particular market, the strategic integration with the other players. So to conclude, I want to ensure or emphasize the fact that the market will grow like anything. Definitely this generation, the Gen Z millennial generation will see a lot of innovative products. Now all the products are supposed to be bound to be digitally integrated. So what is that in the future for us? The brewing technologies, we have already listened. The digital coffee experiences, yes, plenty of options are available. Solutions in terms of tech-enabled solutions. So if you listen to the previous lectures, just you can very well correlate the impact of all those things into anybody's business. So with that, I conclude. I hope I am sticking to the time. As a coffee break time, I am able to cover. Thank the organizers for providing the opportunity. I think I am the only one not dealt with the coffee as a brand. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, the slide itself, it's very interesting to see. You explained very well about the future of Indian coffee market. I hope the participants, this session will be very useful to all of us. Thank you so much for taking your time off and being with us today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll proceed to the next talk, which is on future of specialty coffees, opportunities for entrepreneurs. For this session, we have with us Dr. Mandappa, IM Divisional Head, Coffee Quality Coffee Board. Sir has completed doctoral studies from Central Food Technological Research Institute, Mysore. Sir is a certified Q Arabica graded from the Coffee Quality Institute, USA. Sir has joined the Coffee Board in March 2016 as a coffee quality specialist. Sir focuses on developing on-field detection systems for environmental contaminants and foodborne bacterial pathogens. Sir's current research interests include coffee quality improvement, processing, and yearly on-site detection of ochratoxin A. We welcome you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm sure you all have all heard quite a lot about the processing and the opportunities the entrepreneurs have. I will be slightly tweaking my presentation because although the slides may not reflect the same, I'm just going to be tweaking and basically influencing and inspiring you entrepreneurs to take up something in the coffee space per se. You have a lot of technologies available, like how Dr. Pushpamurthy put it in. You have all the farm processes which have been explained by Dr. Gopinandan. And Jai Kumar, my colleague from Coffee Board, has also basically presented some of the slides I had to present. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak on my presentation and basically present some of the slides. I'll speak more on the specialty coffees of India, how coffees came into India, and take you all through that journey initially. And then then I will touch upon the entrepreneurial opportunities you have as entrepreneurs. So this will be a gist of what I would cover today. Okay, the coffees to India were carried by a saint called Baba Budan. This is what mythology tells us. And the first 7 seeds carried by him has been planted in Chikmagalur district on the Chandradronagiri hills, that is the Baba Budangiri hills. And it was in the 19th century that the Britishers commercially cultivated coffee. And today, India shuttles between the 6th and 7th in place when it comes to coffee production. We are the 5th largest exporter when it comes to coffee. The next slide, please. We roughly produce a minuscule 3.4 metric tons on an average when it comes to coffee. But coffee has a very important role it plays in protecting the Western Ghats, and is in India we in a very sustainable fashion. The Western Ghats, as you all know, you all basically I see a lot of them from south of India. The Western Ghats covers 5% of India's land, and it is also one of the 7 hot biodiversity hotspots in the world, and it is recognized by the UNESCO. There are a lot of endemic species of birds and mammals which exist here. They basically coexist with the coffee plantations. So our coffee plantations form as a good agroforestry system, which is very sustainable in nature, and you see that there is a whole lot of endemic birds, mammals and reptiles living in harmony with humans. Of course, there have been instances of conflicts between humans and animals, but it is manageable so far. This is some basic facts. I'm sure you'll have gone through it quite a few times. But what I want to basically stress around here is the first and the last point. We might be the 7th largest producer, but we produce some very high quality coffee. And we should use that to our benefit. We should always work on our strengths. We should stress on the quality we have, the sustainability aspects we have, and which indirectly or directly employs 2 million people. So this is very important, and this is the agenda here at the quality division, where we highlight our qualities, improve on them, and give them the due. You had the previous speaker present on branding. The quality should be the forte which we should look on, and brand it as a sustainable, quality oriented coffee when it comes to Indian coffees. These are some of the USPs. I'm going to use what the previous speaker said. These are the main USPs of Indian coffee. The uniqueness of Indian coffees lies here. Like I said, we grow it under a thick canopy of shade, a 2-tier shade system, if I can put it that way. One is of the native endemic trees. The second tier is basically your timber yielding to your fruiting trees, which is intercropped with pepper, which acts as a superb agroforestry system when it comes to a coffee plantation. Most of our coffee is handpicked, which again is a good marketing tool. We have undulated terrains, very steep. Mechanization is not very conducive in these coffee estates. So most of our coffee, or almost all our coffee, is handpicked, adding that human touch to our coffee. Our coffees are naturally sun-dried in most cases. Now, due to some climate change and weather vagaries, we have interventions when it comes to drying, which Dr. Gopinandan touched upon. Our coffees are generally high grown. When it comes to the Arabicas, they're grown in higher elevations. We have rich soils, organic in nature, which adds a lot of nutrition to the plants, as well as which reflects in the cup. We have a diverse ecosystem, which I just touched upon. Most of our coffee is grown in the eastern and the western Ghats. We have eco-friendly cultivation practices, most of them very sustainable and in nature. Our beans, basically because of the nature in which we grow it in, it under thick canopy of shade, unlike other countries which grow it in open conditions, our beans mature slowly. They are more full bodied and are more dense, and this adds unique quality and character to our coffee. So these are basically the uniqueness of Indian coffees and the way we grow them. And this is again a superb branding tool for entrepreneurs to use these as part of their campaign. Moving on, the Coffee Board has very nicely classified our coffee growing regions into 13 distinct coffee regions. We have the traditional areas in the south. We also have the non-traditional areas, that is basically your Andhra region, or you've all heard of the Araku coffee, which has gained a lot of prominence. We have the northeast of India, where we have a large amount of area available for cultivation of coffee, and that is the next hotspot which is coming up when it comes to coffee. You have the Andhra, the Araku belt, you have the Koraput or the Odisha belt, and the northeast of India, be it Assam, Meghalaya, and Nagaland, and Mizoram, which grows a lot of coffee, which is very interesting in terms of the geography it's grown in and the cup characters it holds. These are some of our finest Arabica coffees. We have 13 different Arabica coffee varieties which have been developed by our research farm at CCRI. and out of which these are some of the finest. And the selection 795 is known to be the most popular among them. And our latest variety is the Chandragiri, which is a very good variety, high yielder and of a distinct cup quality, which is also popular in this day and age. India has the distinction of not only growing Arabica coffee, but also Robusta coffee. These are the two commercially grown varieties. When it comes to Robustas, we can proudly say that quality wise, India produces some of the finest Robustas in the world. Even till today, our Indian Robustas are considered very high in the international markets. They always sell for a premium. We have two prominent varieties, the selection 274 and C/R. Now, there are a lot of cloning and other interventions brought into this to give you better yielding, better cup quality Robustas as well, along with the Arabicas. So, we can proudly say that we produce some of the best washed Robusta coffees. Coming to classification, coffee basically for trade in as per our Indian Coffee Board standards, we've classified it into 25 commercial grades and 3 specialty coffees, which I will touch upon a little later. Based on the process, again, coffees are classified into washed coffees, or like you heard, parchment coffee in the colloquial term, natural coffees, or in the colloquial term, it's also known as cherry coffees. You have the pulp sun-dried or the honey processed coffees, which are also gaining importance in this day and age. Coming to our specialty coffees, I said India has 3 specialty coffees. This is one of the first Arabica specialty coffees. This is a washed processed Arabica coffees. I'm sure you all have understood what wash processing is, wherein the coffee beans are harvested, the outer pulp removed, and the mucilage layer washed away and then dried to give you a wash process coffee. This is a wash process specialty coffee known as the Mysore Nuggets Extra Bold. This is a grade specific coffee. These are of beans which are of a particular size. The bold beans are what are traded as Mysore Nuggets Extra Bold. They fetch a superb premium in the international market and very highly regarded in the international market. India is also one of the first countries to introduce a specialty Robusta. Robustas till of recently, maybe till the early 2000s, were considered an inferior coffee because I heard somebody say that it is more harsh and bitter. I would never call a Robusta coffee harsh and bitter. I would say they are more robust. They pack a punch in the cup, and what you all call as strong coffee is what you get from a Robusta coffee. And this coffee, like you all know, that Robusta is considered one of the best in the world when it comes to our Indian Robustas. Hence, the Coffee Board has initiated a specialty Robusta coffee called the Robusta Capi Royale. It has a very unique logo associated with it. This is the Mysore Dasara elephant, the Hauda elephant, which represents this particular Robusta coffee. Again, a superb branding tool for an entrepreneur to popularize Robusta coffee on the whole. I saw somebody in the chat box ask a little more about monsoon coffee sometime back, so I just thought I'll speak about it a little more. Monsoon coffee is a very, very unique coffee from India. It is a process specific coffee wherein the cherries from the farms are taken to the Malabar coast. This is a geographical indication tagged coffee. What I mean by that is the monsooning of the coffee is carried out only in the Malabar coast during the monsoon seasons. That's roughly between June to September, wherein these cherry coffees are carried to the Malabar area, wherein they have specialized warehouses where they dry these coffees and expose them to the monsoon winds. And this in turn adds unique characters to the coffee due to the microflora which is present there and the process it undergoes due to the presence of the monsoon winds and the moisture there. These coffees appear a little bleached, very different in comparison to the other green coffees, and they have a unique taste in the cup. They are mild, mellow, with a very neutral, earthy, nutty flavor to it. It's a very unique coffee which sells for a high premium and one of our most specialty coffees in the world. To give you just an idea of how this process came in, it initially came up by accident, like most other discoveries or scientific innovations, if I can put it. In earlier days, our coffees were shipped through the sea route. So you see the logo also holds a ship to indicate that. During the shipping process, specifically to a far off Scandinavian country, they so noticed that when they removed the boxes of coffee there, it appeared to be slightly bleached and bloated. And when the people there consumed the coffee, they developed a liking for that coffee, and it tasted very different from a regular green coffee, be it Arabica or Robusta. So now, due to that accident which occurred, now it is artificially, I would say, not done the same way, because things have changed in terms of technology when it comes to logistics and storage of coffee. So to this day and age, it is still processed in the Malabar coast in these warehouses, where they try to mimic the same process it underwent during its long voyage in the sea in the earlier days. And this is how the monsoon Malabar came about. And both Robusta and Arabica coffees are monsooned in this fashion, and they command high premiums, like I said. Next, please. We also have 7 regions which are GI registered. What I mean is, these regions are unique characters because of the geographical locations they originate from. These regions include the Coog Arabica coffee, which is of distinct quality and cup characters due to the region which it is grown in. The Wayanad Robusta coffee, which is very unique for its cup characters, again because of the region. You have the Chikmagalur Arabica coffee and the Araku Valley Arabica coffee. And of course, the Baba Budan Arabica coffee, which is the birthplace of coffee as we know in India. Other than that, the monsoon Malabars, both Robusta and Arabica, have a geographical indication tag associated to it. This again helps in getting premiums, and for entrepreneurs who are looking to get into the coffee field, this works as an excellent tool once you get your authorized user registrations done. Next, please. We from the Coffee Board also facilitate getting the GI tags for this coffee. Now coming to the opportunities, I spoke about the specialty coffees. A specialty coffee in general, as per the Specialty Coffee Association definition, is basically a coffee which, when you cup or you taste, scores over 80 in a scale of 100. So if a coffee scores over 80 in a particular format, it is considered a specialty coffee. But moving from there, specialty coffee just doesn't happen. There are a lot of players in the value chain who add to making a coffee special or reach that specialty coffee stage. So the journey till the consumer is very long. It of course starts from the plant material or the research that goes into the plant material. Then it comes to the grower, how he grows it, how well he looks after it, how well he processes it. Then the green coffee buyer, who buys the right coffees, markets it to the right destinations. Then, of course, the roaster, who adds value by roasting it to bring out those magical aromas in coffee. And then the barista and the cafes who roast it, who brew it basically. And then the consumer who consumes it and appreciates it for what it's worth. All these players are equally important, and all these players have entrepreneurial opportunities as it comes. And as I move on, I will basically touch upon that. Next, please. Coming to the farm, I think this was spoken about, but let me add more value in basically motivating you entrepreneurs. I hear that the audience has a lot of entrepreneurs out here. I think you all should explore being entrepreneurs in the coffee space. You have some excellent speakers who can support you both at the Coffee Board, at the CFTRI, and the various other organizations which are part of this seminar as well. When it comes to entrepreneurship at the farm level, there is a lot of scope for value addition when it comes to variety of coffee. You know that there are only Arabica and Robusta coffees which are currently cultivated in a commercial scale. But if I may put it, there are over 130 to 129 to 130 varieties of coffee world over, of which 6 of them are native to India. Although they are not very high yielding, they can be used as a good source or a good genome material for future value addition in terms of variety improvement, in terms of bringing resistance due to the climate change, and also adding value in the cup to bring in these unique flavor profiles which are unheard of when it comes to Arabica and Robusta coffee, which are very, very different. So this is something an entrepreneur can look at. You have branding, like the previous speaker spoke. You have estate branded coffees, you have specialty coffees. You can bring in a lot of innovation in farm practices. I did mention that our terrain is unconducive, but that's not the end to it. There is always scope for intervention at the farm. You can bring in some forms of mechanization, which I hear a very innovative planter from Tamil Nadu himself has brought in some very good innovation, improved his yields. And the most important out here is harvesting. Nearly 65% of the cost implications when it comes to coffee cultivation goes with harvesting, because like I mentioned earlier, most of our coffee is hand harvested or hand picked. If there is always scope for intervention in bringing out some mechanical interventions when it comes to harvesters. For an engineer who is from engineering background, this is something he should look at. There is scope for drones and various other interventions in terms of weeding and other, I would say, eco-friendly practices which will cut down on labor and also improve the efficiency of the farm. So what I want to start here is I've started from the farm. I will go all the way up to the consumer and what the entrepreneurial opportunities are. Coming to the post-harvest processing, of course, you've harvested your coffee. There are various methods of processing, which Dr. Gopinandan has nicely covered. You have the dry, wet, and the semi-washed or the honey processed coffee. But again, there are machinery involved when it comes to pulping. Of late, we have heard of the eco pulpers, which are very eco-friendly in terms of the amount of water they use. There is a huge pulp problem or the effluent problem which needs to be addressed, and hence these eco pulpers are playing a big role. But there is always scope for improvement in these eco pulpers, making it more conducive to cater to the coffees we grow, to make it more eco-friendly in that regard. When it comes to drying, today you all said your connection was bad due to vagaries in nature. It's been raining, there's been a depression in the coast, and due to this is the coffee harvest season. Like you know, coffee needs to be dried to a specific moisture of between 11 to a maximum of 12%. And drying is a major challenge and a very important step when it comes to processing of coffee. So in this regard, there are a lot of interventions. You have the solar tunnel dryers, which have been developed by the Coffee Board. You have mechanical dryers. But there is always scope for innovation even in this space when it comes to drying and pulping machineries, like I put. When it comes to fermentation, we spoke of a lot of fermentation techniques which happen at the farm level. There is scope for developing new microbial consortiums, like how Dr. Pushpa from CFTRI spoke about these microbial consortiums, which can be used to fasten the fermentation process. In turn, also add unique characters naturally to coffee, not by infusing anything, but naturally by the action of these microbes, which can add to highlighting certain of the unique characters from the various regional coffees we have. And when it comes to moisture, which I said is very, very specific and very critical when it comes to coffee to help prevent its deterioration and the occurrence of a mold called ochratoxin in it, which is a potential carcinogen. Moisture meters currently are mostly procured from abroad. We have Sinar, which is a popular brand, which is a German company. Some of our indigenous moisture machines are not yet up to the mark. So there is always scope for intervention in this space to develop accurate, cost-effective, economic moisture meters to check the moisture of coffee, which is very, very critical. Similar to moisture meters, you have something called as water activity meters, which checks the total water available in a, say, in a beer, in a coffee bean. So even for this, there are the currently available moisture meters and water activity meters are extremely expensive and most of the time imported from different countries. There is scope for intervention in this area as well, along with fermentation and the processing aspects what I spoke. When it comes to value addition in curing, so what I spoke about earlier was the primary processing, which happens at the farm level. Moving on to the secondary processing, which happens in a dry mill or what we refer to as a coffee curing works. You have various mechanical machineries involved here, which starts from a huller or a peeler polisher to remove the outer cherry coat or the parchment layer when it comes to wash process coffee. You have winnowers basically based on gravity to separate the denser beans from the lighter beans. You have graders to grade beans based on size into different segments. You have gravity separators, you have pneumatic separators, you have electronic color sorting machines, which are very, very expensive currently, wherein based on laser diffraction and based on the RGB colors available, there is something which occurs called the black beans, which are actually defective beans. And these beans are sorted out using these color sorters so that you get coffee which is clean in the cup and of good quality. So when it comes to all these machines I've listed here, currently most of them still till today are imported. You have certain vendors now domestically who have come up with indigenous machines. But again, the efficiency is at question. So if there is an engineer who's an entrepreneur who wants to look at this space, this is some space which is of high value, and it can be a good entrepreneurial opportunity for you to look into this, specifically in trying to develop tabletop hullers or maybe a simple, economic, cost-effective electronic color sorting machine. Moving on, the next stage of value addition after curing, which is the form in which it is exported, the next stage, once you get your green coffee or your clean coffee, is basically adding value to it by roasting it. This is where all the magic happens, where all the magical aromas and the flavors are developed due to the sugar browning process, which happens with the sugars present in the coffee bean. And this process currently, again, when it comes to the roasting technology and the processes, most of them are, the roasting machines are still imported. Not many are indigenously fabricated. There are various components which are still not easily available in India for you to build an entire roasting machine in India. So again, from an entrepreneurial perspective, this roasting machine is very, very critical, and somebody can explore this. You also heard the previous speaker speak on the different roasting technologies which are coming into the picture. So you can explore all that. When it comes to India, we have the technology here, but why not incorporate it into a roasting machine and have a robust economic roasting machine which can add value? You see, there are a multiple number of roasters and micro roasters cropping up in the country. Somebody mentioned about Blue Tokai. You have almost one cafe opening every third day in India, if you look at it now, and it's growing exponentially at about 8 to 16% when it comes to the cafes and micro roasters in the country. There is tremendous scope for you to develop different roasting machines when it comes to that. The next process after roasting is grinding the coffee so that you'll be able to brew it into very distinct particle sizes, because the particle size is very critical when it comes to the brewing method we use. So the grinding machines again currently are mostly imported. There are few indigenous ones. The burrs of different material, you have ceramic to metal burrs, and all this again, there is tremendous scope for an entrepreneur to explore making indigenous grinding machines which are economical and cost effective. Like I said, this industry is only growing, and it is growing domestically, which you all should all tap into. Coming to brewing, there are various interventions. You have various manual brewing methods, like our very own, very dear South Indian filter coffee. You've seen that two-chambered dripper. What we have the French press, we have the pour-over coffees. There is still scope for intervention. To be very honest, there is not an optimized Indian filter coffee brewer, if I can call it. Nobody has gone into the details of optimizing what the pour size should be, what kind of grind should be used, and how long will it take to drip, and how to make the decoction stronger and thicker in nature. So there is scope right here with our Indian filter coffee. We have various different manual brewing methods which can be explored to make it better. The Vietnamese have come with a fin filter which they place on top of a cup, add their Robusta coffee, which is very strong, and then they basically brew it over a bed of condensed milk to add that sweetness, because of the Robusta coffee being a little strong and in that nature. So simple things like that can also be explored from an entrepreneurial angle. When it comes to machineries such as these capsule machines, where you have these capsules which you load into the machine and the press of a button you get coffee, there are scope for intervention in that. Currently, the capsules used are not very eco-friendly. They have various plastic components or which are not very environmental friendly. So there is scope for exploring that area of bringing in biodegradable capsules into the market. The coffee bags, like you see, has a coating of various materials, which again are not very user friendly. You have drip bags. So there is always scope for intervention when it comes to brewing, all the way from a simple manual filter to a vending machine where you can add technology in terms of IoT and AI, which is gaining popularity now, to also making it more sustainable and environmental friendly when it comes to the various packaging machines, materials we use. These are the value added products. I'm sure you all heard enough of this. CFTRI has a lot of these technologies. Dr. Pushpa Murthy herself is right here. She's come up with certain technologies when it comes to green coffee, capsules or tablets, and various other interventions, your liquid coffees. You have your ready to drink coffees. So all these again add as an entrepreneurial opportunities. You always have the assistance of CFTRI, which can help you with the technology with respect to this. This is again terrific scope for an entrepreneur to basically work on these value added products and add more value to the always already available coffee product you have in the market. Coming to packaging, which I already touched upon, currently most of the packaging machines and the packaging interventions are again imported, not very easily available within the country. So there is, like I said, scope for eco-friendly packaging material, developing new form, fill, seal packaging machines within the country to make it more economical. And because I'm repeating myself, this market is only growing and it is only here to stay. With the new demographics, like the previous speaker who spoke on branding spoke, we have a very young population in India, and most of them are taking to drinking coffee. So the domestic coffee consumption also is on the rise. And if you bring in all these interventions, it will not only help an entrepreneur in this country, there will also be terrific demand for products like this, which are more eco-friendly and more cost-efficient, if I can call it that. These are just to give you an idea. I think somebody asked in the chat box, what are these scores? So this will give you more clarity. So like I said, a coffee below 80 is considered a non-specialty coffee. 80 to 85 is a very good coffee. As per the SEA standards, it's called a specialty coffee. 85 to 90 is an excellent coffee. And 90 to 100 is an exceptional or an outstanding coffee. This is how coffee is graded by certified Q graders or cuppers, wherein these coffees are graded based on certain parameters. And based on these scores, what the cuppers give it, the coffees are traded at for high premiums. This again is an entrepreneurial opportunities, and that's the reason I brought it out at the end. This can start all the way at the farm level, or it can be a trader, or it can be a cafe owner or a roaster who can dwell into this. He can go like how there was an example of Blue Tokai, which was projected earlier, where they go to the farm, they source the right coffees directly from the farm, they brand it in the particular estate name. They also might look for organic coffees or fair trade or certified coffees from various different organizations. You have bird friendly coffee, which is from the Smithsonian Institute. You have decaffeinated coffees, which comes from a process. You have high grown coffees, and you have some special varieties because they have unique characters, attributes which come naturally in that coffee. And some of them, which I have listed here, add value. And all these coffees can be sourced, branded separately, and sold to a consumer basically for a good premium to increase your entrepreneurial opportunities and give you scope for entrepreneurship right here. So what I wanted to touch here, like I told you in the beginning, is all the way from the farm to the cup, there are entrepreneurial opportunities in coffee. This is just to project what we have here at the Coffee Quality Division. We are housed at Bangalore. We have a dedicated brewing and a barista laboratory. We have a lot of classes we conduct, which I will show you in the next slide. Next, please. We have a very unique analytical laboratory. We are one of the only laboratories in the country, if not two or three in the world, which have the next, please, next slide, We have the electronic nose and the tongue. So you can be certain that all the coffee that goes out of the country for export or domestic consumption goes through our lab in most cases, although it is not mandatory, it's voluntary for somebody to send it. We provide all these services as a service to the industry. And if any one of you all want any of your coffee tested for any quality parameters, you can always send it to us. Yeah, this is what I wanted to project. There might be some of you all who are new to the coffee field. These are some of the programs we run. We have a 1-year postgraduate diploma in coffee quality management. This is an all India entrance where we call for applications once a year, and we take 15 candidates per year, where they go undergo training for the first 3 months at our CCRI, our Central Coffee Research Institute, where they learn all aspects of the growing up to the post-harvest ing of coffee. After which they come to Bangalore to the coffee quality division, where we take them through all the other aspects of the quality grading to cupping to the various aspects of trade and the marketing as well as the brewing of coffee. And at the end of the course, they go out as coffee quality experts from the which cater to the vast industry which is only growing. We also have a Kapi Shastra training program, which is a 5-day training program, which is for anybody, a layman. When it comes to postgraduate diploma, we look at a graduate in the science line. But Kapi Shastra is for anybody who's interested. We have it once in 2 months or 3 months. It will be announced on our coffee board website and on our app called the India Coffee app, where you can register. We have a limited seats of 25 participants per program. It runs for 1 week, which takes you through all the aspects, all the way from the bean to the final cup. And we have various guest lecturers along with all our experts from Coffee Board conducting this program. This Kapi Shastra training program is an extremely popular program which has been going on from 2002. We have a lot of coffee entrepreneurship training programs organized both at the Coffee Quality Division, and we have an Atal Incubation Center, what you see here. It's an incubation center set up at Bangalore on the first floor, which does various programs. If you have some innovative idea when coffee, of all that I spoke about, if you come up with something really innovative, you can always incubate your ideas here and obtain the support from the Atal Incubation Center. We have also started a certified barista training program. This program is very unique, wherein it basically caters to training baristas across the country. We have a team of barista trainers at Coffee Board who go across the country training baristas and barista skills to brew a perfect cup of coffee. And we've already trained over 500 participants so far. We are happy to collaborate both with public and private enterprises and conduct this training program on a small guideline basis, which involves no cost but just your partnership and collaboration. These are some more collaborative partnerships what we have when it comes to coffee. We are happy to sign MOUs with both public and private players to enhance something to do with quality or anything to do with coffee for that matter. We have run a lot of competitions. We have national level competitions, and off late, since I see most of the audience from south of India, we've introduced Indian Filter Coffee Championship, which is gaining real good popularity. This is something we want to bring to the world stage, and hopefully in April, when we have an event called the India International Coffee Festival, we will have it as a World Filter Coffee Championship, where we'll have participation from people from across the world brewing coffee in our Indian filter coffee and popularizing it on the whole. Indian filter coffee already has obtained a distinction of being the second most popular brewing method when it came to a rating done recently. And this is what we want to capitalize on. And we've not only introduced the Indian Filter Coffee Championship, which is unique to our India and our region out here. We have a Barista Championship recognized by the World Coffee Events. We have a National Latte Art Championship. We have the Coffee in Good Spirits, which involves brewing coffee and mixing it with various spirits to give you a unique beverage, which we do as a international competition. We have the National Brewers Cup Championship, which we also run. We also have various committees which we have created at Coffee Board to basically enhance the sector and looking at the sector for the next 20 years. And these committees will be stakeholder driven and will be more attractive for anybody to come and pitch their ideas here. So these are some of the collaboration and partnership opportunities you have in coffee. And I think with this, I end my presentation. Like I said, I've tweaked my presentation quite a bit, but it's mainly to inspire you young entrepreneurs to basically take up something in the coffee line and become coffeepreneurs, and for which you have the support of the coffee board and all the other institutions which work on coffee. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity in IFTEM. We look forward to collaborating with you all as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
We're also looking forward for that. Thank you.
You.